So there is no competition other than, maybe Fios coming into your neighborhood, and maybe, if you have DSL available through a phone company, but that's it. There's no cable competition. I mean, if you're not lucky enough to, if you're not lucky enough to be able to have, I'm not lucky enough to have Fios in my city. I can't get it. I'm stuck with Comcast. Unless I want to do, direct TV, which is pretty darn slow and pretty expensive for in town, I got to go with Comcast. That's my cable company. I don't have a choice for ISP service. Now, I can, once I get ISP, I don't have to have Comcast, cable. I don't have to have Xfinity. I could get all my shows and everything else I want to watch, including HBO now, without having cable TV. But in order for me to get that other alternative stuff, I've got to have Xfinity internet service. I don't have a choice. And that is due to lack of competition put in place by our local and state governments. So this whole, thing about Comcast and Time Warner, kiboshing competition is a bunch of bunk. Now, I understand what Netflix is saying because, they don't want to have their service interrupted or change in any way because, hey, Netflix basically competes with, the direct stuff that Comcast and Time Warner offer. I have never once paid their stupid prices for on-demand entertainment with my cable when I had Time Warner. And before Time Warner sold out my local cable company to local cable area to Comcast, I didn't go with Time Warner. I didn't do any on-demand stuff. I have never done any on-demand stuff with Comcast because it's like $4. $4 or more. I could go down the street to a Red Box or have Netflix deliver the DVD to me if I wanted to, or watch it streaming on Netflix. Sometimes I don't get to see it right away. I may have to wait a week or two or a month, but I'm still going to be able to see it, and I pay a lot less than I'm going to pay with the on-demand crap. So that's the reason why Comcast and Time Warner and other cable and internet service providers want to be able to limit companies like Netflix. Well, hey, you know what? They kind of have the right to because they're the ones that built the fiber optic networks. In order to stream all this stuff, they're the ones that built the network. It wasn't the government. Wasn't Netflix. It wasn't Google. Although Google is doing that now. In certain markets, they're developing their own, internet service providing system, which I understand is screaming fast and is going to put a kibosh on a lot of this. As Google grows that type of thing, it is going to seriously force companies like Comcast and even Verizon's Fios to up their game and lower their price. That's a good competition is always good because it increases service, it increases customer satisfaction while lowering price. So you get more for less. I mean, it's only natural, but see, this is something that the left just doesn't get. They think they can regulate everything, but the problem is when you regulate, you keep the price artificially high. So we don't actually, they think that they're helping the public and they're helping us, our consumers, but in most cases, overregulation, in every case, overregulation costs us money, us, me and you, the consumer, costs us money. And actually, it costs us money twice. Because think about it. You're paying, your ISP and your cable and phone and all that kind of stuff yourself for your own private use. And then business has to do it. So now they're, because, all that access cost is high. That's reflected in your consumer prices. So actually 3 times you're paying. So you're paying for yourself. You're paying for the business, and hey, you're also paying the government's bill on that stuff. This government's online. Yeah, government. How else do you get .gov and .state, whatever the state is? Yeah, they don't have their own private little government network. No, they have to get online with all the ISP services too. But for regular government, I mean, the military has their own network, but most other government agencies they're subscribing, like you and me. And hey, so we got to pay for that too. So we're paying 3 times, inflated prices thrice. Isn't that wonderful? So this whole notion that this Comcast Time Warner thing it was, going to reduce competition is a red herring and a lie, because they're not in competition. I mean, I can't get Time Warner service no matter what. I don't live in a Time Warner community. I can't get it. I live in a Comcast community. I cannot. So tell me how that's going to reduce competition. Well, because they're going to get more power, Rod. They're going to own all of these lines. Well, they built them. Why don't they get to do with what they want with them? And the point is that if you allowed more competition into your local and state communities, you wouldn't have to worry about it so much. Really, because competition is almost always a good thing for the consumer. Because it'll bring you better service, better product, a faster service and product at a lower cost. That's what competition does, because somebody always wants to outdo the competition in order to gain your business. So one of the things that we find is that in the communities that Fios is in, Comcast and Time Warner have, what we've learned, they have better customer service. Why? Because if you don't like Comcast, you can hook up with Fios. Oh, competition. And as Google moves into different cities, well, we're understanding that Fios is trying to up their game in those Google cities because Google is killing them on service and speed. Hey, they're leaving, the cable companies in the dust. That's what competition does. I've mentioned that I don't know how many times. So increase the competition, get government regulation out of it, over-regulation out of it, and you'll find that the price will come down, and you'll save money both, in your own pocket when you go buy stuff from the business standpoint and from the government. Well, your taxes won't go down, so I guess you won't save there, but yeah, taxes never seem to go down. American sniper derailed by Muslim complaints at the University of Maryland. Now we've already heard this happening once at the University of Michigan. Well, now it seems like there's another state, University of Maryland. Maryland is U of M is joining the ranks of educational institutions with an American sniper controversy. Now, I have to admit, I have not seen the movie yet, and I want to see it, and I'm going to see it. I'm going to rent it or stream it or whatever, unless, of course, I have to, on demand it from Comcast. That I won't do. But Muslim students protest and prompted the University of Maryland at College Park to announce the cancellation of the movie about deceased Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. If we could only have the same type of response to Christian and Jewish faith people who complain, all would be right with the world. Then we could say, well, they're trying to accommodate but you know what? These liberal nut job universities don't give a damn about the Jewish faith or the Christian faith. They only seem to be catering to the Islam. Why? It's not because they're afraid of it. They better not be afraid of it. That cannot be the reason. There is something else more sinister going on here with the left and Islam. Don't doubt me on this, folks. Now, they can protest all they want. That doesn't mean that the rest... And now, as far as the three major religions are concerned, Islam is in the minority. So again, with the left, minority rules over the majority. How is that, the American way? Oh, well, that's the problem. It's the American way for, the right thing to be done. Yeah, but they say, and this is a quote, American sniper only perpetrates the spread of Islamophobia and is offensive to many Muslims around the world for good reason. Well, we're not talking about around the world. We're talking about the United States. And as far as I'm concerned, you Islamist radicals are the reason why there was even a Chris Kyle sniper in the first place. If you weren't such jerks to the rest of the world, there would have been a Chris Kyle sniper. I think that's pretty obvious. Just saying. And there's also more hubbub. Speaking of Muslim and Islam, because everybody, a growing number of people think that our president is a closet Islamist, which I kind of agree. There's growing concern over why Tom Brady snubbed the president in the White House when the Patriots went there yesterday for their White House celebration of their Super Bowl championship. Look, I told you that it meant this whole notion that he had a previous family commitment was bogus. In that, that people are going to start talking about this, and they are. And I don't know if I were Tom Brady, I would never address it. I'd just let it hang out there. Because you know what, big deal. Look, because he's first of all, he's damned if he explains himself, and he's damned if he doesn't. Plain and simple. And personally, I don't think he should try to explain himself. He really shouldn't. I mean, he's a football player. He's got a private life like everybody else does. I don't think he really needs to explain himself. Plain and simple. Well, we are out of time for tonight and for the week, folks. We'll be back here again on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel. So tune in. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm Rod Eccles. I'm out.